Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching me from. I'm here to talk about one Oduifa, very popular, and that's Ejiogbe. Ejiogbe is still one of the most popular Oduifa, Erinjilogun Opele. I'm here to enlighten you more on the Odu. Ejiogbe is another significant Odu in the Ifa divination system, consisting of two symbols that represent balance, knowledge, and communication. The message of Ejiogbe is often considered one of great depth and significance, touching of themes of self-realization, spiritual enlightenment, personal responsibility, and the connection between the physical and the spiritual world. Here's the full interpretation of Ejiogbe. Ejiogbe, the Odu of enlightenment, responsibility, and self-realization. Ejiogbe is often known as a powerful and positive sign encouraging an individual to align with divine forces in order to bring about positive change both in personal and collective realms. It is a sign of transformation, enlightenment, and the realization of one's true purpose in life. Below is a breakdown of its core messages. Self-realization and enlightenment. Ijogbe, that's number one, self-realization and enlightenment. Ijogbe is about understanding one's higher self and recognizing divinity within. It calls for self-reflection and introspection, helping the individual to understand their true potential and the importance of connecting with their higher purpose. This Odu encourages the seeker to seek wisdom, cultivate knowledge, and open their minds to new experiences that can lead to spiritual and personal growth. It is a sign that one is on the right path towards enlightenment. Two, communication and wisdom. A key aspect of Ijogbe is the importance of communication, whether with the divine ancestors or others around you. The Odu suggests that one must be wise in their words and actions, as both can have lasting effect. It emphasizes the need for clear communications, honesty, and understanding in interaction with others. The ability to listen and communicate with clarity is seen as a sign of maturity and spiritual growth. Three, spiritual development and guidance. Ijogbe often signifies a deep spiritual journey and the guidance provided by the higher spiritual beings. It encourages the person to engage in rituals, prayers, and offerings to continue fostering a stronger relationship with the divine realm. The Odu advises that you should always look to spiritual forces for guidance in times of doubt or struggle. It emphasizes that a spiritually aligned life will bring peace, prosperity, and fulfillment. 4. Transformation and positive change. This Odu is symbolic of transformation. If you have been going through difficult times or have been in a stagnant phase, Ojogbe is a sign that change is on the horizon. It signals the beginning of new opportunities and spiritual awakening. The message here is that change is necessary for growth. You must be open to transformation, even when it requires letting go of old habits, thought patterns, or situations that no longer serve your higher good. 5. Personal responsibility and accountability. Yoga stresses the importance of personal responsibility. You must own your actions, decisions, and the consequences they bring. This Odu, this Odu calls for integrity and encourages individuals to take charge of their lives and destinies. The message of accountability here is also tied to the idea that you are responsible not only for yourself but for your community. Your actions, no matter how small, can have an impact on those around you. Therefore, always act with consciousness, wisdom, and love. 6. Prosperity and success. Ijogbe is considered an Odu of prosperity, favoring success in endeavors that are aligned with truth and integrity. If you follow the path of enlightenment and wisdom, your efforts are likely to be rewarded. It encourages the individual to take practical steps towards success while also emphasizing that material wealth should not be pursued at the expense of spiritual values. 7. Overcoming challenges with divine assistance. Ejiogbe indicates that while you may face challenges, divine forces are at work to protect you. It reassures that with faith, prayer, and enlightenment, with spiritual principles, you overcome obstacles and emerge victorious. This Odu speaks of resilience and the support you can expect from the divine in overcoming difficulties. It advises that even in the face of adversity, remain steadfast and trust that you are not alone. 8. Protection and fortitude. Ijogbe also brings a message of protection. It suggests that the spiritual world will shield you from harm and help you through times of trouble. This is a sign of divine favor and guidance, promising that spiritual forces are always watching over you. It encourages the individual to develop inner strength and fortitude. Through perseverance and faith, you will be able to conquer any challenges you may face. Oracle's advice in Ejiogbe. Engage in reflection. Take the time to explore your true self, purpose, and potential. Cultivate wisdom. Strive for intellectual and spiritual growth and practice effective communication. Be responsible. Own your actions and decisions. Understand that your choices shape your reality. Embrace transformation. Open yourself to new experiences and changes that come with them. Trust in divine guidance. In times of uncertainty, turn to the spiritual realm for guidance and protection. Act with integrity. Prosperity comes through honest, purposeful actions that are aligned with your spiritual values. In summary, Ejiobe is an Odu that calls for a spiritual awakening, guiding the individual towards enlightenment, personal responsibility, and transformation. It emphasizes the importance of wisdom, communication, and taking ownership of your actions. It is a sign of divine protection and prosperity, urging the individual to follow the divine path and align themselves with truth, spiritual wisdom, and integrity. Taboos of people born by Ejiogbe. In the Ifa tradition, each Odu is associated with certain taboos or prohibitions that are specific to individuals born under that sign. These taboos are intended to guide the person in living a life that aligns with divine order and spiritual principles. For individuals born under for individuals born under the Ejiobe, there are specific taboos that they must observe to avoid negative consequences and to maintain harmony in their lives. Taboos of children born by Ejiobe. 1. Avoid dishonesty and deceit. Children born under Ejiobe must avoid dishonesty or any form of deceit. This Odu stresses the importance of truthfulness, both in words and actions. Deceiving others or engaging in falsehood will lead to negative consequences. They should maintain integrity and ensure that their actions align with spiritual and moral principles. Avoid overindulgence or excess. Excessive indulgence, particularly in food, drink, or material desires, is a taboo for those born under Ijugbe. The Odu advises maintaining balance in all things. Overindulgence may lead to spiritual imbalance and hinder personal growth. It is important for them to practice moderation and self control in all aspects of life. Avoid anger and aggression. Ejiogbe children should avoid allowing anger or aggression to control their actions. While the Odu indicates strength, it warns against using this power in a destructive or violent manner. Being quick to anger can bring harm to relationships and cause spiritual disconnection. They should practice patience, forgiveness, and emotional regulation. Avoid engaging in harmful relationships. Children born under Ejiogbe are cautioned against engaging in relationships that could be toxic, manipulative, or deceitful. They should be they should avoid being involved in individuals who may lead them astray or encourage harmful behavior. The Odu emphasizes the importance of choosing relationships that are based on mutual respect, trust, and spiritual alignment. 5. Avoid neglecting spiritual practices. Neglecting spiritual practices such as prayers, rituals, and offerings is another taboo for those born under Ichiobi. This Odu calls for a consistent and active spiritual life to maintain balance and receive divine guidance. They must avoid becoming complacent in their spiritual journey or losing sight of their higher purpose. 6. Avoid being disrespectful to other elders and spiritual leaders. Ejogbe children must show respect to elders, spiritual leaders, and those in positions of authority. Disrespecting these individuals could bring negative spiritual repercussions. This Odu calls for humility and reverence towards those who hold wisdom and experience. 7. Avoid overdependence on material wealth. While material success is important, those born under a Ejogbe should avoid or becoming overly focused on accumulating wealth or possessions at the expense of their spiritual growth. Ejogbe calls for a balanced approach to material and spiritual pursuits, reminding them that true fulfillment comes from alignment both. 8. Avoid negative use of power. Ejogbe individuals must be careful about how they wield power, influence, or authority. This Odu warns against using power in manipulative, unjust, or self-serving ways. Power should be used for the benefit of others and to promote justice, truth, and fairness. Avoid giving in to temptation. 9. Temptation that lead them astray from spiritual purpose or moral values should be avoided. Ejogbe individuals must stay focused on their spiritual path and resist the urge to indulge in behaviors that could undermine their integrity. Conclusion. Children born under the Ejogbe must be mindful of their actions and behavior to live a life aligned with divine will. By avoiding dishonesty, overindulgence, anger, toxic relationships, neglecting spiritual practices, disrespect, dependence or material wealth, misuse of power, and yielding to temptation, they can ensure that they maintain balance, spiritual growth, and divine protection throughout their lives. Ijogbe calls for integrity, wisdom, and humility, guiding them towards a fulfilling and harmonious existence. Thank you for listening on the topic Ijogbe. Hope you learned a few things from that.